Okay, welcome back. In this video now, we're going to talk to you about blocking out that jacket and getting that jacket established. And for that, we're going to use polygroups. Now, we gave you a little bit of a demonstration of how polygroups work. So we're going to show you how we can kind of build off of that first timer tutorial to kind of give us what we want. At this point, you should have a good idea or have your face sort of flushed out at this juncture. If not, just take a moment to sort of get it everything everywhere that you want, so to speak. Just kind of like take your finishing touches out and go from there. So with that said, let's just go ahead and get started on this jacket. Now the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and select the subtool with the body, which you can do with left option, left alt, left click, or go to the subtool and just click it there. And for this, I think what I'm going to go ahead and do is duplicate this subtool. I know. Why am I duplicating it? Because I'm going to cut a jacket out of it. So let's go ahead and show you how that looks. First, let's turn off our reference. Shift Z. Let's duplicate this subtool. And for now, I'm just going to go through and delete. Not delete. Why did I say that? I'm just going to turn the visibility of everything off. Now, from this point on, I want you to go ahead and just maybe toggle back and forth between symmetry and with the X key and turning on symmetry, and hold down Control and just simply carve out a jacket. Even I like to kind of hold Control, drag, and do a marquee for these back areas here. And you know, you're just kind of looking for like a carve out of a jacket. It's basically the only thing we're doing here. So, you know, just take your time. If you want to really get a nice sheen jacket, one thing you can do is you can, while holding down Control, go up to transform and not transformed, apologies. Go up to stroke and hit the lazy mouse, and you can kind of have a lazy mouse curve on here. So to help you with like a sort of smoother line, if you will. So just take your time on this and carve what you want from it. Just a cute little jacket. And if you want, you can also make sure to kind of get a nice little spot right here. And then you're going to have your jacket. Now make sure you get all the spots in the sleeve all taken care of. Now if you remember from this point on, what we're going to do is we're going to build off of what we learned in the first time beginner intro course, and that is I'm just going to kind of hold Control to soften it, and then Control left alt to kind of hard it, and kind of go back and forth to kind of smooth out the edges there. From this point on, hit Control W so we can create a polygroup out of this. And now that we have some polygroups, let's get something that's a little bit clean here. So let's go through geometry and let's go through edge loops, and then we're going to do some group loops, and that's just going to give us a nice little cleaner line here. So if we hold Shift Control, we can kind of see a nice clean line in all of this. And if you want to kind of make that smoother, if you wish, you can always do that just by going through deformation and then hitting polish by groups, and then we can kind of give that a couple of runs. I like to go up here and click that hollow circle, and that kind of gives us a little bit more of a cleaner sheen. So once you have all that taken care of, you have a nice clean jacket. Let's hold Shift Control left click to get this guy. And something we didn't talk about is this back face calling here. If you want to see the back face, you can just go through display properties and hit double. And so now what I want to do is say this. I isolate selected all of this. That means if I shift control left click, it's going to come back. What I want to do is delete that geometry like so. So to do that, we're going to have to go through and go through geometry, modify topology, and under here is where we hit delete hidden. And that's sort of how you go about go about deleting hidden topology through an isolate select. So from this point on, I'd like to go ahead and kind of clean up the mesh, make it something a little bit smoother, because this may give me some unwanted divots that I may not want to see. So I'm going to go for a cleaner looking topology, and as we know, Dynamesh is a blockout remesher. Z-remesher is sort of where we want to, Z-remesher gives us the quality that we want to get something cleaner. We don't have to have a very advanced setting for this. We can just simply hit the button in default and we'll get something like this. Now if you notice the hand kind of went this way, that's because X symmetry was turned on. So let's go ahead and turn off X. So symmetry must be off. And we can see a much cleaner topology. This is a topology that we can also build off of. Now, one extra thing I want to say right here is we have a thin fold, and I kind of would like to go about creating some thickness here, kind of like an extrude. Now, ZModeler has some options for extruding, but I think what I'd like to do is just go ahead and do the extrusion through Dynamesh. So before anything, before giving myself any thickness and going over Dynamesh and a whole nother feature on having like a sort of a thickness, I'm going to want to block this guy out a little bit more. I'm going to want to kind of reposition it onto my main sculpt, which is this guy, because it's right now just overlapping the geometry. So what we're going to do in the next lesson is sort of position all of this kind of over the body before we start in by giving it a little bit of thickness in the process. So with that said, stick around and stay tuned.